Welcome to Stand Out from the Crowd, the podcast dedicated to helping professionals and leaders amplify their voice, impact, and influence. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hello, beautiful people. Good afternoon. Bonjour, salam alaikum. Long time no see. I know I suspended for a little time the live streams because I'm traveling a lot. If you follow me, if you see my content, you know that I'm traveling a lot back and forth between Africa and Canada. So I'm super happy to be back live here for a new episode of Stand Out from the Crowd. And today's guest is a special guest. She is a powerhouse. I have known her for a couple of years, but honestly, I didn't know her story. And wow, I'm so glad and happy to have the opportunity to talk to her today and for you to learn about, her journey and how you can leverage your social skills as an inspiring leader or as an existing leader to prosper, to better communicate, to increase your impact, and to build a long lasting legacy, because that's all what we are about. We are about making a long lasting impact, make a difference in people's life, and ensuring that we can prosper all together. So without further ado, please help me welcome Naira Velumyan.
Hi, dear Darine.
Hi, Naira. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, and thank you for your kind words, for everything what you said.
Oh, no, you're
Honored.
most welcome. And before we get started, actually, Naira, we have a beautiful international community here on LinkedIn. So please let us know where you are tuning in from. If you have any comment, any question, if the stories we share with you today resonate with you, let us know in the comment. Use the comment section, to express yourself and to connect with one another, because that's what we are here for. So let us know where you are from. So, Naira, we have known each other for quite some time now, a couple of years, because we are both of us a founding member of a beautiful organization, Immigrant Women in Business. We're going to talk about it later during this conversation. But as I was reading your biography, I realized how much we have been talking like for a couple of years, but actually I didn't know your story. And first of all, we have something in common that I think it's important to mention, is that you used to be an introvert. So for you people who are going to listen to Naira today, you would never guess that at some point in her life, she used to be an introvert. That was the case for myself. I was shy, like sick shy, hiding myself so people wouldn't ask me questions and they wouldn't hear the sound of my voice. That was that bad for me. And I know it was kind of that bad for Naira too. So, Naira, tell us a little bit about your journey from being an introvert to being a great leader.
Darine, maybe I would start from explaining what is introversion, being introvert and extrovert means.
Yeah.
So extrovert and introverts, it's type of temperaments. We come to this world with these temperaments and they never change. So what do I mean when saying temperaments? How we perceive the world and how we self-position. So introverts, they dig deeper.
Mm-hmm.
They look into details. They are very observant. They are very careful with details. And they have great analytical skills, therefore. Extroverts, they dig wider. So they look at the world. For example, if you look at the forest, extrovert sees the forest. Introvert sees the trees one by one.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a different in our perception, and so it will never change. This is who we are. This is who we will always be. You and me, if we consider ourselves introverts, this will never change. And these are the skills, the qualities, the strengths that we all have. So extroverts, and I did not finish about them. They see bigger picture. They are more open. They don't notice details. However, they see connection, not connection. They see this picture of puzzles. A final picture, I would say. They can see the future, while introverts are maybe too attentive to the present, to what's going on now. So, and that makes us different. And therefore, the collaboration of introverts and extroverts contributes. They collaborate, it creates great results. So now if we will look at the scale of extroversion skills, it's a bit different. Extroversion skills, it means that we develop our communication skills from low level. We don't know how to communicate, how to build connections with people and develop relationships, and to the point where we are networkers, we are great connectors, and we can find connection with any person. That's the difference. Therefore, we have two different topics, like introverts and extroverts inborn, and extroversion skills that we can develop. So I'm really proud of being introvert, because I know all the advantages and I'm enjoying them.
Yeah.
However, life pushed me out of comfort zone. As introvert, that we prefer quietness, isolation, small groups of people where we feel more confident and safer. So my life pushed me out of this comfort zone, and I had to develop these communication skills, namely extroversion skills. My dream when I was, for sure, when I was a child, I was not confident. I was shy. I was a perfect student, an excellent student, but I did not have my voice, or even better, I did not know how to express my position. I looked at my friends who were confident, and I always was surrounded by confident friends. I looked at them and I did not understand what's wrong with me, why they can and not, as if something was missing. So then when I married, and I married young at the age of 16, and my dream was having 6 kids. I was comfortable at my home. I was comfortable cooking, doing everything at home, raising my kids, and it really, I could not dream of something more than that.
Okay.
And for sure, we had guests at home, and my husband always was open to new people. However, it's still not so many. It's not crowds of 200, 10, 15, maximum 20. So we always had big gatherings. But for me, as an introvert, it was survival.
Okay.
And then when I was 23, and at that time we had 2 kids, they were 3 and 5 years old. My husband was murdered. And I, therefore, I had to come out of my comfort zone, because I had my whys. For sure, at that time, I did not want to leave, because he was my God, he was my everything, and and I did not see the meaning of why should I continue my life. And I was really questioning myself, and then just I realized that no, I cannot do it. We have 2 kids. Yeah. And now it's my responsibility to do something for our kids that he could not. It means that now I should live for 2 of us, and I should ensure everything for our kids that he dreamt about. And so this was my why. This was my motivation to come out of comfort zone, and I did. So I started. The fastest thing at that time was to go into business. It was a wild 90s in Russia, and it was not Russia at that time. It was Soviet Union.
Okay.
And it's very interesting, even when I married my husband, he was doing business, but he was doing this, he could not do it openly, because business was a crime.
Oh, yes, indeed, that's true.
It was a communist country. and he was a criminal. And even that's why my family, they were all confused with my choice. So I married a criminal.
But in reality, you married an entrepreneur.
I did. So, but after a few years, when Soviet Union changed into Russia, Soviet Union split into 15 countries. Russia became from communist became to capitalist, moving into capitalist society. So, and my husband, in almost in one day, became respected person. He was
Wow. So he went from being a criminal, to being a respected person.
mhm.
How crazy is that?
He was doing business, and but that time, when again this transition period, it was dangerous to do business. No one knew what does it mean, and it was like wild 90s. That's people were murdered almost every day because of money, because of business, and especially big money.
Okay.
So, and when my husband passed away, died, I decided to go into business. I knew that it's a dangerous territory, but was the place where I could make faster and bigger money,
Okay.
because at that time I did not have education. I married at the age of 16. I graduated school, and I'm telling you, my dream was only, just my family and my kids. So, and that's why my family was confused as well, because I did not follow their expectations. And as excellent student, they expected a lot from me. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I went into business and I opened my first hardware store. It was not a difficult thing because I lived with entrepreneur and I saw everything. I was involved in everything what he was doing. I
So
was
you
preparing.
learned, actually, you learned. So let's pause here a little bit, because that's what you're saying is very interesting. So first of all, you went against the odds. You follow your heart, and then life happened, and through life happens, and usually it's when you go through life, a tough time in life, that you learn the most about you. And you take chances on doing things that maybe you wouldn't have done or never done in your life. And so every time I interview leaders like yourself, there was a turning point in their life. There was an event, like life happens, where they find themselves in a situation where they had no other choice but to go outside of their comfort zone. And this is for most leaders, at least for those I have interviewed on this show, that was the turning point where they finally developed those skills. So that's one thing, when things happen on a personal level, it oftentimes an opportunity in disguise, to develop skills, to become a leader, to go out of your comfort zone. Now, the second thing is, you being surrounded by entrepreneurs, you have learned so much. So, which make me say, like, look at who you surround yourself with. Who are the people you surround yourself with? Because either you have an interest or not, they have an impact on you, they have an influence on you, right? And you are learning from them. So you being married to an entrepreneur and being surrounded by entrepreneurs, maybe unconsciously, you saw them doing business and running successful business. So when the time came for you to think about starting a business, like, did you know already what to do? Was it clear for you? Okay, I need to do this and this and that in order to run a successful business.
It's interesting. So my husband, he was older than me, and he prepared me. I think maybe he felt something. Maybe he realized that that he's in danger. I don't know why, but he pushed me all the time when he spoke about business or had meetings to be there.
Okay.
I did not want. I said, look, I have things to do. I have something to cook. I have to go with my kids, and he pushed me literally. He said, sit, and just and I was sitting with my notebook and I was writing.
Okay, interesting. So he was mentoring you.
He was. He was.
Wonderful. So now tell us a little bit about, because you have opened multiple businesses in different industries, and all of them were successful. So he was a good teacher. Let's say that he was a good teacher, right? So tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey.
So the first thing that I opened, the first business, was hardware store. not a difficult thing. And I opened this after half a year, of his death. So, and I think for me it was an exit. It was a relief, because so many thoughts, emotions, and it's a big challenge, being a widow, especially at this age, when you have all your dreams, and one day they're all broken. And so it helped me to cope with my grief. That's why I think I did it so fast, and I like the time. I like being tired. When I was tired, I was going to bed, and I did not even have a minute to think about, to feel sorry for myself, and to think about what happened, because I fall asleep, and next day is just another fight. So after another half a year, I opened my second hardware store, because first of all, it was much easier for me, because I did it once, and secondly, because it's, again, just so much pain, and again, how we cope with pain, we just, we create challenges to forget about, not to forget, to shift your focus from this pain, from one to something else. And then slowly I was getting more and more involved into business, people, ideas, and I realized that so I had a chance to open a car repair service. Okay. It was the right time, right people around, who were ready to support me. And there was a person who became top manager of my car repair service. So I, first of all, I did not know anything about it. And there was a man, and yes, I trusted him. So that was my next decision. And again, it was not difficult, because if we look at the business, so the elements that are included, they're always the same: time, money, and people. And when you learn how to manage all these three resources, you can open anything, I believe. For sure, you need consultants, you need those who know more than you, because you cannot know everything. These are people. Then your time, how you can package everything, so just to be successful and effective. And money, where to find money, how to invest, expenses, income, just how to manage them. That's what I'm always saying this to my clients: three resources: time, money, and people. If you know how to manage these, you can do everything. And then I had a need of knowing the law, because I was more and more involved in business, and I needed to understand how can I operate, not to what are my limitations, what I can do, what are my rights. So I went into law school, and it took me 6 years.
Wow.
To become, however, I became a criminal lawyer. So,
well, which is not business law then.
No, but the more you learn, the more it's like, you think that you'd like to learn only about this part of life, but then you realize that life is much bigger than what you want.
You covered, I feel like after what happened to you at such a young age, you covered all the angles. So you could be prepared no matter what. That's how I feel when I hear you sharing your story. How you didn't have an education, married at 16, widow at 23, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a lawyer. And then in the midst of all of this, you decided to leave your country to move to Canada.
Yes, between being a lawyer and moving to Canada, I became a psychologist. So there was a shift when I decided that criminal law is not something that I would like to get involved. It was in the court when they were four youngsters who were at the court, and they stole something, and each of them got 8 years. Oh, wow. And I saw that their advocates, they did not do their work properly. And I wanted to become an advocate. And I was so devastated. I was crying. And I realized that, and the system, I could not understand how system permitted this. Okay, if even advocates, but there is a judge. There are people who were there. How come that this it was unfair? I realized that it was a crime, but it was unfair because this 8 years now changed the life of these 4 guys forever. Yeah. After prison, they will not be the same. Their life path will not be the same, and many of their dreams will be broken as my dreams were.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So you saw the connection. You felt a connection, or you
I
could
felt
relate. You could relate to their story.
I could, and I cried, and I was surprised that it does not bother anyone, as if just it's four lives. And then, so I went and I read their cases. I tried to get more details. Why it happened? Could something be different in their lives? And I realized, yes, they all came from dysfunctional families. And I realized that I don't want to participate in the system of punishment. I want to participate in the system, so-called, if you can call it system, where we can prevent it and help
Mhm.
people before they get into trouble. And I went into psychology. I got my education as a psychologist. Then I got my few certificates because, as you say, I'm very open to many things. I want them in. I'm curious to everything. I became family system therapist, Jungian therapist, hypnotherapist, a psychodrama therapist, and there was something else. So, and I learned and I increased my knowledge. So then I started applying integrative approach to my clients, and I had clients as well, besides, in addition to my business. And then I
So,
had my
so you were running your two, three, four businesses while you were in law school, becoming a lawyer, going back to school, and getting psychology degrees.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Wow. So here, like, how do you get organized?
I call it the fridge effect.
Okay.
Do you have the fridge?
And by the way, you were a mom of two kids at the same time. It's important to mention it as well, right? So tell us about the fridge. What's the fridge effect?
Fridge effect. Do you have the fridge?
Yes.
Good. It's easy because everyone does have the fridge. So what is this? Look, imagine when you open the door of your fridge and it's full.
Yeah.
And there is no space, right? And then you go to the grocery store probably to buy something. You like something, you want something else, and then but the fridge there is no space. What do? You start rearranging the space. You put something in containers, container on container. Then so you package it like Lego. You package it, and then everything what you bought. Fortunately, just surprisingly, now you have the space for everything. Then maybe again you cook something or you buy something else, and there is no space in your fridge. Then you look at your fridges, you think again, how can I rearrange the space to make at least for this small pot to put it? And you find the space, believe me. So that
True.
every time, and this is how this is how time management works. If you will do it smart, uh, then you will always find the logistics. You will set up the logistics properly. When
Okay.
you meet, for example, look, if you are going somewhere, you have to drive somewhere. Think what other people and places you can visit because you are going in this direction, right? For
Mm-hmm.
example, if you manage your time and you have small things that you have to do and big things, just believe me that small things, they take the same energy in your mind as big things. Therefore, get rid of this burden because it just save your energy for big achievements. So it's about using your brain and using your and doing it smartly, I would say.
Yeah, and this is the perfect transition actually, because using your brand, and you were talking about being an introvert and having strong analytical skills. We can clearly see it now. So then you decided to move to Canada, and to start from scratch again, right? Uh, but as you said, once you know, understand, and master the process, this is always the same. But once you came to Canada, you changed, I want to say you changed your focus somehow, because I feel like you used all this experience, growing your own leadership skills, becoming more assertive, and, increasing your impact on your clients. You decided to open the Social Competency Academy, right? But before you tell us about the Social Competency Academy and how you help individuals, to better communicate, to build better relationships so they can have a better impact and prosper as leader. What made you want to move to Canada?
My son was graduating school. My daughter graduated school and she married. So my son was graduating school and I wanted him to study in Canada and as an international student. So he applied and he was admitted to University of Western Ontario. And at that time, at the same time, I applied for immigration for my son. So my plan was he graduates and then he becomes with this status, PR status. He stays in this country and just he leaves. So I'm doing this for him because he's part of my family. He's still dependent. After half a year of studying, my son said, "No, I will not live in Canada. I cannot because look, he came from big city. He came from Moscow." At the age of 16, because we graduate school there at the age of 16, he came to London, small town, and kids are 18 plus because here we graduate school later. And he was raised by, he was surrounded by women. He went to private school, so everything was, just he was very protected there. So for him it was challenging. So he said, I won't stay, I won't live in this country. I asked him, okay, can you at least graduate, finish 1 year and then transfer? So he did. He transferred to Moscow. My papers were in the immigrant office. And by the way, you know what my son said? I said, what's the main reason why you could not stay there? Because I was disappointed. And he said, sense of humor. He said, I did not understand theirs. They did not understand mine.
True. Oh, I had the same experience coming here as a student. I couldn't, and I was in Quebec, so French Canada, and we didn't have the same sense of humor. And people would, and it's hard because when people laugh, when they tell joke and they laugh, you hear and you don't understand what they laugh. And when you do your own jokes, people look at you like, "What's wrong with her?" So I can relate to that.
So yes, it was a revelation for me. So my son came back, and after 3 years, he already was graduating Russian university. I received invitation by email, welcome to Canada. So I applied and I received, invitation. I applied as a skilled worker, and at that point, my daughter is married. She's not part of my family. My son said, "Mom, I don't have plans to live in Canada." I said, "You know what? Then I will go," because I said the whole world is knocking Canadian doors, trying to get into the country, and I received this email. I said, "I'm leaving." Therefore, my kids were adults. I could afford doing this, and at that time, they didn't need me as much as when they were babies. So I could do it.
Wow. That's so interesting. Let's take a look at the few comments that we have here. This is insightful. Keep up the good work. Great topic. So from Michael, a great topic. Leadership is everything. And through your story, I love it because we can see how leadership applies not only at work or in a professional setup, but how leadership applies in your personal life first, right? I strongly believe it. We have Bridget here who says this is great, and Hester who says, our dear Hester, who says, truly inspiring story, Naira. Thank you for sharing. So thank you all of you for watching us. I think that there are a couple of you actually live. So if you have any questions, any comment, if you are inspired, which I'm totally inspired by Naira's stories as well, let us know in the comment section. So now you're in Canada and you decided to focus on helping people develop their social skills. And I think it's very smart because I'm coming from Western Europe, which is different than Eastern Europe. But something that caught my attention when I moved to Canada is how central and how important in the business culture, in the social culture, in every aspect of life here, social skills are important. They are everything. They are at the heart of everything. And they are more important than the hard skills. So the degrees, the experience that you get, like, are not that much important. So I guess maybe you had the same observation, and that's why you decided to open your academy.
That's correct. So when I came, I did not know what, I was not prepared because I did not do it for myself. So I came and I realized I came with art. And my initial goal was to promote the art, because I was the director of famous Russian artist, and I have passion for art. And I did not speak English at that time. It was 5 years ago. So,
Wow.
and however, I was able to build relationships with people, to connect. I did events in Los Angeles, New York, Hamptons, and in Canada as well, and then Miami. And and so my initial point was not psychology at all. I didn't even plan this here. So, however, what I noticed, that without understanding and speaking English, people could hardly understand me. I was able to connect, and I asked myself why. What did I do? And and then I realized that as a psychologist, I know so many things that can be applied by others, that I applied and different people can do as well. So body language, effective listening, personal image, manners, and building relationships. I mean, finding something in common. So I realized that, and conflict resolution as well, because how you manage, how you deal with conflicts and conflicting people as well. So, and it helped me a lot. And I realized, and I looked around and I saw that there are many Nairas everywhere. And by the way, it's interesting what I observe. There are much more introverted people than extroverts. And we don't speak about this, because the world is extroverted. As introvert, you can do nothing. You should be loud to be, to find your place in this society. That's why we don't speak a lot about this, but there are many Nairas and there are many Darines around. And I realized that now what I was able to do, I'm not teaching English, I'm teaching communication. And that pushed me to open academy now, to share everything what I struggled with, starting from my business journey, because as introvert you can do nothing if you will not be open to collaborations and partnerships and just people. And then especially Canadian, it was like quintessence, just of what I knew. And I realized that now I'm ready to share and to give. I got enough just now to give.
Yeah, you feel at a place where, yes, you get enough for now to share and give back. And so, we are going through interesting times, I want to say. uh, we got the pandemic, then we are talking about a recession, and in the same times we might be back to square one with the pandemic. So we are going through a challenging time, I want to say. And during that time, I don't know if that happened in the past, because as a millennial, this is the first crisis. I was too young for the 28 crisis to remember anything or to be able to observe or to understand things. But now, like, this is my first real experience of going through an economic crisis and the pandemic as well. And I realized that, like, the notion of leadership, the vision of leadership, and what is expected from a leader is completely turned ups and downs. So now we talk a lot about being vulnerable, about kindness, about empathy, that the leaders, like, with those quality or social skills, actually will be the ones who stand out from the crowd, will be the one who will keep their team together, who will have an impact, and so on and so on. So this is really an interesting time, and you as an observer, I'm sure you must see a lot of things. So why social skills now is becoming more important than ever, especially for leaders?
It's interesting, you speak about hard times, right? And for me, it's not the first crisis. For me, it's the third.
Yeah.
And economical crisis. But it's interesting that that's why I call social skills survival skills. To survive, we need to be able to speak, to share, to connect. It's just if you will go back centuries, thousands of years ago, how did people survive? They were united in families, in teams, in communities, right? So that's the same. If you want to survive, you should develop your social skills, because now it's hard time. And when I always say social skills, it's not about, many people say, look, I know how to talk, just so I'm especially extroverts. They say, okay, introverts, they have their problems. I don't. I can connect with anyone. Yes, but it's about, so it's about managing this properly, being appropriate and being in time, saying thank you in time, saying sorry in time, requesting something. It all, just, and understanding what the other person is going through to be connected with their emotions. And so that's what social skills. It's not just be socializing. It's just doing it with maximum outcome.
Yeah, and I clearly see the difference, for me at least, between socializing and like having social skills. Like, you need social skills to socialize, of course, but I really see it as two distinct things. So now, how do you help, or how can leaders, aspiring and existing leaders, develop and leverage those social skills? Because even for extroverts, though, this is particularly important for introvert, but even for extroverts, there is always room for improvement. There is always room to better yourself. So how can we develop and leverage those social skills?
It's interesting. Usually in communication, our focus, especially for introverts, on ourselves. I feel uncomfortable. Did I say something right? Oh, just probably, just, oh no, I cannot talk, I should hide. We usually, it's kind of, that's why introverted, we look inside. However, for extroverts, it's a challenge as well, because they look too wide. But what's important, to see the other person, to shift your focus to another person, and they will tell you everything. When it's time, just you see you are nodding, I can nod because I can connect with you. And I can attach with mimics, I can attach with emotion. Now you smile, for sure you experience something just positive, right? So this is just connection, but there is no me. All my focus is on you. Yeah. And that's the thing about communication. And another thing that that is important for leaders and managers as well, because for those who lead people, because there are two types of leadership: management and leadership. What's important? We usually say that communication is, okay, I said something, I told them, I wrote them, I emailed them, but it's not about this. Communication is always, you send the message, and you should be you should know for sure that the other person received the exact message that you sent. It means that communication happened. Sometimes, and I work with managers and leaders, and they always say, I told my staff this. And then when I speak with their staff, I realize that their staff did not get this message. They see different picture. What happened? Miscommunication. Message was sent, they said check. Message was delivered? No.
Two different things indeed.
That's what I think we should develop. And speaking about leadership, how I look at it, and even my story I think shows this. It's like introversion skills. We have a scale. We go, we develop and we move higher and higher. Leadership is the same. You start with, with your family, with your life, as you said. Start with your life, and then you move on the scale. Then your family, then small group, then maybe your business, bigger group, then community, and this is how you move. Developing your leadership skills, because they have to be developed as well. You can never say, okay, now I'm the leader, I have nothing to learn.
That's very true. And talking about bigger group, the next step maybe that in your journey was becoming founding members, one of the founding members of IWB, which is Immigrant Women in Business, which as of today has hundreds and hundreds of members across Canada. It's important to mention it. So this organization was founded by Svetlana, who is also a powerhouse. And for you watching the live, you will probably have the opportunity also to learn from her. She's another powerhouse. And but here your role is a little bit different, right? Because you give back, you mentor immigrant women, you show them the way, and again you put them at the center of your attention, so you can provide them what they are looking for to succeed. So tell us a little bit about your role within Immigrant Women in Business.
For sure, my role, this is how I understand my role. My role is to serve, to serve those and who struggle, who don't know answers, while I do have. I don't have all the answers, but at least in my area. And these are always the questions that people come to me. So my goal is always not to serve only people, but to serve the organization itself, so it will grow and develop. And you mentioned Svetlana, so absolutely, I learned Svetlana is an extrovert.
Oh,
And for me,
100%.
and I told you, I was always I surrounded, my friends, they were, because Svetlana is my friend. She's not only, part of IWB, she's more than that for me. And that's why, for me, she's an inspiration, and she's an example, and I learn a lot from her, because, she's from the other planet. And that's why, I every day, every time, and, Svetlana's communication skills, they are not only extroverted, but they're properly managed. So she's the person who can manage them. And she is the role model for me.
Oh yeah, she's my mentor. Every time I have doubt, every time I don't know what to do, at any time I call her, she's like, listen, I want to figure this out, you focus on that, you should do that, and go for it. She's a doer. And so actually, I strongly encourage you to look at the LinkedIn page, Immigrant Women in Business. I will put the link in the comments. So if you want further information, you can learn from it. I will also put the link to Naira's profile, so you can connect with her and work with her if you feel that you need to. And something that we would like also to share is on July 15, we are hosting through IWB, Immigrant Women in Business, this massive, impactful women's leadership event here in Toronto, Canada. So if you are, I know we have an international community here, but if you are in Toronto or somewhere around, please feel free to join us, because you're gonna have this unique opportunity. It takes place only once a year to learn from women leaders, immigrant women in leadership, immigrant women who started a business, who didn't speak English, who speak English with a broken accent sometimes, but it doesn't stop us from making an impact. And that's the message that we want to share. You want to surround yourself with people who make you feel in the first place that it is possible for yourself. If Naira did it, if I did it, trust me, you can do it too. But you want to also surround yourself with people who you can learn from, so you turn your dream into reality. So this is really a unique opportunity for you. This is the only event actually I attend every year. Uh, uh, because this is really a beautiful place to say. Is there anything you would like to add about this July 15 event?
I would say it's a great possibility for introverts to come. Our events, they're always smooth and positive. Therefore, for introverts to go into big crowds, it's challenging. However, our crowd is very safe. We hug, we smile, we encourage. Therefore, for introverts who even want to practice and maybe to develop their extroversion skills, it's a great possibility to join.
Yeah, you will always find someone to welcome you. And let me tell you something. If you stay in your corner, that's what I used to do when going. I would go to events, but I would stay in my
Sorry.
corner. Usually, I would stay by the food, next to the food, right? So you eat. So because you eat, you don't have to.
You protect yourself, kind of. I'm busy. Yes.
And you don't have to speak. So that's what I used to do. But listen, even if you come, so that's the first step. Congratulations. But if you stay in your corner, you will find someone, I can guarantee you 100%, no doubt, that will come to you and, make the first step and then introduce you to other people. So when you talk about, we are a safe space, this is also true. We create a space where even if you don't feel comfortable, opening up a conversation with people that you don't know, someone will come to you. So there is no way that you spend an hour or 2 hours in your corner without interacting with people, because people will come to you no matter what. So I'm looking forward to it. If you are coming to the event, please let us know. Send me a DM. I would be super happy to get the opportunity to meet you and to hug you in person. Finally, now that we can do it. For how long, we don't know yet. But listen, we're going to enjoy the present. And that's all. So, Naira, I would like to thank you for your time, for your generosity, sharing so much about your own story, and so much about how we can leverage our own skills and experience, and what we can perceive sometimes as a barrier. Actually, once we understand what it really is and what it means, how we can use it, to build up our skills and become better and greater leaders. Thank you very much, Naira. You take care, you stay safe. I wish you a wonderful day. And for those of you watching the live or the replay, thank you so much. And I will see you next week for another live episode of Stand Out from the Crowd. Thank you, Naira.
Thank you, dear, to you and your guests. Thank you very much.